Hello everyone, this is Azuruki Yamamoto and today I am playing World of Warships. And, well, with the newest update 0.8.9, Italian cruisers have come to World of Warships. And during this event you can get the Genova, probably raping that a bit, but a tier 5 premium Italian cruiser. And it's a cruiser that a lot of people on YouTube have already covered, and I thought, you know what, let me join in. And the reason for this is actually quite simple. Many people say, okay, you know, this is probably one of the worst ships that we've seen so far, and I think I have to disagree. You know, I understand why people think this ship is not that good. It doesn't have high explosive shells, but instead it has SAPs, semi-armor piercing shells. It's got a very long reload on the guns. It's not super stealthy. I mean, I've got 11.5 kilometer detectability right now, which can still go down because I don't have concealment expert. The consumables are really quite boring. I mean, no hydroacoustic, not the signature Italian fuel stack, fuel smoke, whatever it's called. And the true laughing stock actually of this ship is the fact that the guns reload after 20 seconds, whereas the torpedoes reload after, well, 47. So basically, your shooting order here can be shoot, shoot, throw torpedoes, shoot, shoot, throw torpedoes. Now that's remarkable. And yeah. But anyway, let's see if we can make this ship work anyhow, because I think that if you use it, if you basically ignore the semi-armor piercing shells, then it's a very potent ship, because the armor piercing shells, the regular armor piercing on the ship is very, very potent. And I'm going to have to see if I can actually demonstrate this. I tried to demonstrate it on the enemy in Genova, of course, but I have actually already had my first devastating strikes on Miyokos in this thing, tier 7 cruisers, and just not only devastating strike them for nearly all of their HP, but even for complete full HP. And well, if you can do that with a tier 5 cruiser, then perhaps it's not the worst cruiser ever. It's a bit of a measly hit, but okay. Now the art is, of course, because this is a quite weak cruiser, you don't want to find yourself completely broadside to the enemy. But well, he's not doing any damage whatsoever, so... And this is something I think many people underestimate in World of Warships. You know, I'm not doing too much damage to the enemy right now, but my teammates are murdering him. And he's not doing any damage whatsoever to me. And in my opinion, that's worth quite a bit. We can benefit from the master smoke screen, that's nice. So let's see if we can land some citadel hits now. This should be good for landing citadels. No citadel? Ooh, 3 overpens. Painful. And now you can actually see, okay, this reload is painfully slow. And yeah, before I can shoot again, this AOBA is already fully turned away from me. Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. If we're gonna load in a SAP salvo now, actually did quite a bit of nice damage there. Now we can do either of two things, either actually push, but I don't want to get stuck in between all of these ships, or stay back a bit. Now this was 4000 damage, and for a 20-second reload that's not very good, because that will be 12,000 effective DPM. Now if you actually land at every minute in a tier 5, that's pretty good. But the thing is, the AP on this ship is just so much better, and I hope that I can demonstrate that at some point. Look at that, 9000 damage in a single salvo. And again, I have had salvos on Miyokos for just their full HP, so like 30,000 in a single salvo with this ship. So, I don't know, I don't think this ship is that bad. I'm not going to say it's very good, I'm not going to redeem it like that, but I'm just gonna say perhaps it's not as bad as it seems. And we can even see that right now I'm tanking quite a bit of damage against two higher tier battleships. It's going fairly well. Shoot the pilot in its front. And we have dropped torpedoes on the Gneisenau. The Gneisenau doesn't seem to have noticed them yet. And while we're at it, next set is almost reloaded, so this can be interesting. Now of course the Gneisenau does have torpedoes of its own. Ooh. Oh, that was only just okay. Hitting 3 torpedoes there. Boom. Heavy hits on the Gneisenau. Gneisenau is hitting me really hard with his guns, but fortunately he did miss the torpedo. And this is the moment where I'm gonna start loading SAP, because he's going to angle away from me. Then I won't be able to do anything with these regular armor piercing shells. He's still aiming for me, still trying to hit me, but I can take these shells fairly well actually. Making a 4800 damage hit with the SAP there, and boom, torpedo hits like crazy. Haha. Well, this is actually quite cool, because I thought, okay, I can rake up some replay, but it's much nicer to do reviews, I think, just playing them as you go. It's a lot more pure. And this battle is actually going great, and it's showing all of the things that I do like about the Genova. Now of course, let's be fair here, the enemy Gneisenau did hit me pretty hard at some point. I think he hit me for maybe 12k in a single salvo, but then again, this thing is a tier 5 cruiser, it has 30k HP. Now if we look at the Nuremberg over there, that has 29k HP, slightly less than me, and that's a tier 6 cruiser. So for a tier 5 cruiser, in the Nuremberg, it's not that low on HP. So for a tier 5 cruiser, this thing has a lot of HP, and on top of that, you can use its armor very well. And then if you combine that with the idea that it's got very potent shells, and especially very potent torpedoes if you get to use them, well, it's a very good ship in my opinion. Now of course I do get the critics, and the critics are fairly easy. The SAP shells, semi-armor piercing, they are not that good, seeing that it's the redeeming the special thing of the Italian ships. I mean, this is supposed to replace basically high explosive shells, and yeah, you're not able to do that consistent damage to battleships at all, especially when they start angling. No way. And yeah, that makes it a bit painful, but does it make it bad? No, I don't think so. In addition, this thing is actually fast for a tier 5 cruiser, and it makes it really comfortable to play. Because it's a pretty heavy cruiser and then it's fast. It's an unusual combination. But of course, yeah, it would have been nice if it had a bit more special things going for it, like having the fuel stack consumable, or having much better SAP shells, because apparently the regular Italian ships also just have pretty poor SAP shells. Now, of course, in my opinion, that's sort of made up for by having very good regular AP, but it really depends on your targets. For instance, on this York, I'm not doing too much damage at the moment because he's angled so well. Of course, we can try and load in an SAP salvo now. The Furious should also come into range now if I can spot him. Or if someone spots him, I should be able to deal a fair amount of damage with SAP on him as well. Let's see. And again, on such a flat broadside, armor piercing should do the trick. There's no broadsiding anymore. Ooh, that wasn't too great of a salvo. Well, that's the battle then. But yeah, the Genova, pretty nice ship in my opinion. I don't know what the problem is. So all in all, in this battle I dealt 80,000 damage, and for a tier 5 ship, that is just, yeah, that's a whole lot of damage. And I have plenty of HP to spare. If I would have had to take on pretty much all of the remaining enemy team, that would have been interesting, I think. But we won by points, so no such luck. The enemy team as remaining wasn't that much. Scored 1400 base XP, second in the team, so pretty good there. And if we look at what we actually did, hit the AOBA pretty hard with some AP shells, did some other damage, and of course just dealt massive damage to this Grtz now. Nearly 40,000 damage with these torpedoes. Of course I did hit 6 torpedoes, and for the amount of torpedo hits the damage is not that great, but it's basically sort of bonus damage. Tanked quite a bit of damage in my opinion, so that's fairly interesting as well. Now, if we look at the performance between SAP shells and AP shells, I think in this particular case, SAP actually, you know, it actually looks kind of nice, because I dealt 10,000 damage with only 24 shells fired, whereas I shot over 4 times as much with armor piercing and dealt only 30,000 damage. But of course that really depends on the targets and everything. But for SAP, supposedly it should be fairly consistent, and perhaps I should have used it more on the Grtz now in the biome. But it just doesn't feel consistent enough, and it feels as if you can just better stick to armor piercing all the time. And in that sense, yeah, it would be nice if the SAP was a little bit better, but I still think it's a really good ship. Is it a top class ship? No, not really, especially because it's not that interesting in my opinion. But it's a very decent all-rounded tier 5 in my opinion, so I'd at least give it a 7 out of 10, and I'm sort of even inclined to maybe even go a bit higher than that. because the alpha strike on these armor piercing shells, it's just so massive. So guys, let's face it, the Genova is not a bad tier 5. At least that's my opinion, and if you guys disagree, please comment in the in the comments below, of course, and let's have a bit of a discussion about it. And I'll see you guys next time. I'm also gonna do a review on one other ship that's that has the status of being a very bad ship, and you'll see what that ship is in the next video. See you all around.